Sheba Mason is a wonderful actress. She has got the only but best musical in the New York Comedy Festival. It's called the Jackie Mason Musical. It's at Caroline's on Broadway.
It already happened. Right?
Yeah, and it's a tribute to Jackie's life and legacy. Get this, not only is this wonderful woman his daughter, but she plays Jackie Mason's wife. A lot going on there. They've got an actor who is basically a doppelganger of Jackie Mason playing the lead role as well. Got rave reviews. What a fucking great idea. How are you, Sheba? Welcome.
Well, thanks. Thanks for having me.
Oh my God! Thanks for coming. This is fascinating. We've got a lot to get to. Well, one of the things too, Joe and I were talking about this beforehand. Like Jackie and you didn't have like the closest of relationships, huh?
No, that's true. We're not
Yeah.
that close. I actually even had a joke in my act where I said like our relationship is getting better. We're getting a lot because I'm a comedian too. You know?
Yes.
We're getting a lot closer. Like last week, I saw him on the street and he actually recognized me.
Nice.
I know he recognized me because the minute he saw me, he ran the other way.
I wonder, like, is it? And I'm sorry he has passed. He passed in '93, a couple of years ago. Is it one of those things where this was always a seed, and you sort of? Well, it's a little easier to do it now because.
Well, that's a good question. So we've been doing it a long time. It was written by my mother. She's right there.
Nice to meet you, Ginger. Right? Nice to meet you, Ginger.
I don't see the resemblance at all. Not at all.
So I'm just showing you. That's funny. As you're on the camera for a second.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, your mic works too, I guess. Yeah. So anyway, so she was with him for 10 years, right? And then it resulted in my birth, and then she wasn't with him anymore. Just sum that up. But so this play is a cast of 8. You know, I play my mother. We still have 2 more performances at Caroline's.
Oh, okay,
coming up.
great.
Yeah,
And
so I was right. You were wrong.
No, I was like, it just sucks. You came in when it's over. We can't even promote it.
It actually was extended, so that's
Amazing.
Yeah, thanks.
Which is awesome.
And so, like, you know, there's a woman who plays an older deli waitress, like a deli waitress, like the
Yeah.
Rascal House kind of a thing. There's a young waitress that, like, is an example of all the other women that Jackie was fucking, you know? And so, quite frankly.
I like that you don't mince words on that.
Well, I heard you say fuck you to the people who've never listened
Oh
to
no,
the show.
this is. You can say whatever you want. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. This is.
Well,
we don't
tell
have
me a
bleep.
little bit about your preparation for the role.
Okay,
Right?
yeah.
So, do you just observe your mother? Did you want to do like sort of really mimic her at all, or what was your sort of process?
Well, she makes herself seem really ladylike in the way it's written. She's like very like the ingenue role, you know?
Sure.
And she always says it's sort of like Alice in Wonderland where she's absorbed by this guy who's like such a celebrity, you know, at
Yeah.
the time.
Right.
And so, you know, I've observed psychologists have a field day with this show because I'm
Oh my
playing
God,
her,
I can imagine.
get pregnant with myself. You know?
It's insane. Yeah, in a great way. But I've never heard anything like this.
Yeah, well, thanks. You know, it's hopefully people realize how unusual it is and they come.
Well, and I saw one of the names of the songs was, I'm butchering it probably, Who Is This Yenta? Or I've
Yeah.
never met this Yenta or something like that. I'm assuming, I have an idea of what this is about.
Right. So yeah, right. I never met this Yenta. So that takes place like when Jackie Mason is being sued for paternity.
Love it.
And he has like his hand up, and he starts off by saying, "I never met her. I didn't know her." And then towards the end, he has to say, "Well, I guess the baby's mine," you know, because there was a
man.
blood test, you know.
Yeah.
That is fucking great.
I look just like him. Yeah.
Well, and Ginger, how is her impression of you?
He's the
Spot on?
Couldn't be better for the price I'm paying.
Well said.
You made sure to get the same hair colorist too.
Yeah. Now, do you feel this urge to ad lib ever and sort of put your own kind of spin into it, or did you have some sort of artistic contribution?
That's a really good question. Well, I had.
Okay, question. Wasn't that great?
It's hard not to ad lib as a comedian all the time.
Yeah.
Sure.
You know, there's certain points you've got to hit in the show, and the guy who plays Jackie plays the comedian, so he ad libs a little bit, so I let him do it.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay.
That's good. And and so like I don't know. Oh, like overall, do you still have anger or resentment for the fact that there wasn't a lot of interaction between you guys while he was alive, and I don't like where are you at peace with all this now?
Well, yeah, I kind of came to peace with it. I was kind of raised. She raised me. I was kind of raised by her and my grandmother, and like there's a big part of the mother in the play because she was like super influential in everybody's life, like a dominating Jewish mother, and
Is there any other kind?
Yeah, right. Yeah, that goes without saying. What is it when you say the same thing twice? Redundant.
Yes.
Yes.
So I'm glad I pulled that word. But so they sort of taught me like not to have any resentment, just to like be because there's so many absentee fathers out there.
Oh my God, yeah.
Like my mother never knew her
comedy.
father either. I guess because we come from a long line of whores and.
We prefer sexually empowered. I, for one, want to encourage
Although
women.
I would say 10 years, though, a 10-year relationship, that's very significant.
Well, in between the 10 years, there were periods of where I didn't see him for like 4 months at a time.
Okay.
It wasn't like a straight 10 years. He was only fucking me.
Well, sort of to that point, over the years, have you found out about like other like half siblings or something?
Oh, yeah.
No, believe it or not, I'm the only child.
Oh, that's
Both
good
people.
for
You would think it would be.
Yeah, but not so much.
Everybody wants to know if he left me in the will. And I tell people, would I wear this jacket if he did?
Well, I met your dad one time.
Did you?
He was on a show that she and I used to work for called Red Eye. And
Red Eye.
yeah, and I wanted to, and I did not get the courage to ask about the one thing that he did that I was not a fan of. And I was a big fan, but it's this little thing called Caddyshack 2.
Yeah.
And I wanted an apology. I felt America needed an apology, and I was too in awe of him to ask for it. But I suppose he never mentioned that monstrosity.
How dare he?
Yes.
So funny
that
because I
was-
actually have a joke where I go, people, he avoids me. Why is he avoiding me when he's the one who made Caddyshack too? So it's so funny that you
Right
mentioned.
there. Oh, that right there is worth the price of admission, people. It
was not-
got me. Yeah, it
It was not his finest hour.
You know what? It wasn't Chevy Chase's finest hour either. So don't worry about it. But unbelievable. What a great idea. And how does it work as far as, not a great question, but I have no idea how one would even begin to make a musical out of this. It's one thing to do a play, but I mean, do you find a songwriter? You already have the ready-made lyric. How does that even begin to happen?
Well, she writes music. She's a composer.
There you
so she wrote
go.
the
So
whole
it's
thing.
already done and done.
Yeah, so she was almost like looking for, she was an artist too. Like, when she met him, she was a young girl and like, she was like always a songwriter and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So, you know how we are as artists, when something big happens in your life, you want to write about it, whether you're an author or a songwriter. So she began writing songs about him and about this whirlwind relationship back then, and then she kind of incorporated and made it into a play.
I love it. So what's next for this? I feel like this is going to be a nice springboard for it, huh?
Yeah, I hope so. It has toured around, but we hope that it just goes, keeps going.
I mean, I would love to see all these streaming platforms now, right? They film these stage productions, whether it's comedy specials or whatever. Like, it could be really cool to see a filmed version of this.
That's a really good idea.
Yeah.
That's a
Sorry,
good idea,
I don't have
actually.
any poll. I wish I could help you, but
It's she's gonna probably stain that turtleneck at some point today anyway. She just looks fancy.
I know.
She can't wear white. Well, that's unbelievable.
and what has like audience response been so far?
They, they love it. I don't want to, sound like a conceited douchebag, but
Do it. I
Oh,
do it all
do
the
it.
time.
If you don't sell yourself, who will?
some people are really miffed by it, and it's fun too. It's like lighthearted and fun and merry, and it's we don't crucify him really, and it also is like a comment on celebrity. Like there's a song called "Celebrity Seekers" where everybody's surrounding him, so you enter into like that sort of brain of like when you're such a big star, people are always coming over to you, and how annoying that could be. But it's also a necessary part of being a celebrity is to you have to accommodate your fans.
Maybe you guys can both answer this. Was there anything that you had in the script initially that your mom was like, no, this is a good idea, or anything that you kind of put the kibosh on?
Actually, I added a song called "The Finger," that the guy who plays Jackie Mason wrote because everybody wanted to really know what happened with Ed Sullivan. So he really wrote, he explains to her, like, after they, have an intimate scene. So she said, did you really give Ed Sullivan the finger? So I added stuff, not take it away. Right?
I love it. And I was not aware of this story. So he got blackballed by Sullivan because did he give him the finger on the
I thought you guys would be too young to know that, yeah.
Yeah,
So
do
he
you
was
even
like-
know who Ed Sullivan is?
I certainly know who Ed Sullivan is. Yes. I mean, he is basically the man that single-handedly brought the Beatles to America, introduced them at Shea Stadium for their first live performance in New York, and had them on a couple of times, as well as, like, God, everyone.
So
everyone from
glad
the
you
Doors,
asked. Go on, Bill.
Everyone from the Doors to Elvis Presley, all that stuff. Anyway, I'm sorry. Go on. I did not know this story.
So it would like if you were on the Ed Sullivan show back then, it was like really huge. Like it would make or break you.
yeah.
So when you're a comedian, you practice like your perfect 5 minutes down to the syllable, right?
Yeah.
So he's in the middle of his set, and the president has to make an address, so they start waving him off, and he was confused what they were doing, so he started going like this, and it was said that he gave Ed Sullivan the actual finger, and it set his career back like 20 years. He was completely blackballed. He later sued Ed Sullivan, and he won.
Oh, my God.
And,
I
yeah.
I didn't know about this.
Yeah, so he was like the first victim of cancel culture, one of the first victims.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, what a different time where just one finger would
Yeah.
do something like that.
So the people who know about that, always want to know like what really happened. Did he really give him the finger? Yeah. So it's like a little history lesson.
And he, and I didn't realize this, he was a rabbi?
Yeah, he was a
I
rabbi.
had no idea about that either.
Yeah. And so like what's the story? He started giving sermons, right? And then
Right. His whole family was rabbis. He came from a family of rabbis. His father, his brothers, he had 3 brothers, and they were all rabbis. So he became a rabbi, and then all he could think about was the woman sitting in the second row and how he wanted to be with her, and he just didn't feel true to the art of being a rabbi. So he became a social director instead. And that's where his career started to take off.
Although I'm exposing my ignorance here, I was under the impression that rabbis are indeed allowed to marry.
Oh, they
We're
can
both
marry.
very lapsed Catholics,
Yeah.
but
They can marry, but they can't like screw everybody they want all the time, 24/7.
converting. But they can do that. Yeah, that's a big problem with the whole Catholicism thing, is that weird marriage thing. Leads to a lot of bad things. But that's fascinating. So he did the Borscht Belt stuff as well.
Yeah, Catskills and stuff like that.
Hey, that's where all the comics were doing back then, huh?
Yeah, like it was a whole era,
Oh, God, absolutely fascinating. Oh, well, gosh, I'm hoping, this is a stepping stone to something bigger, because what a brilliant idea. No one's ever done
Thanks.
anything like this.
Wow, thank you for appreciating it. That's really cool.
I want to, I got a thing tonight, but when are the next 2? So we should make sure we get that. When are the next 2 performances?
So we had a show yesterday, and then the next 2 are the 20th and 27th, Sunday matinees at 3.
Okay.
If you guys want to go, you come as my guest. But everyone else, please pay for a ticket.
That would be wonderful.
It would be great if you guys
I'm
came.
in. I'm embarrassed I haven't seen it already. I was super busy this weekend. Not really.
Dino and Keanu are coming Sunday.
Oh, fun.
I've never heard of them. That is like that.
Make sure Gino knows there's no audience participation. Unless
Oh,
there
Yes,
is.
yeah.
agreed, yeah.
Yeah, he's quite the talker. That one. Hopefully, Keanu will shut him up. But well, yeah, maybe I'll. Well, he already went, but I'm definitely in. I would love to go.
Great. Well, thanks.
Yeah, no, this is a great idea. I love it. Do you have something sort of artistic related that we can do here? Artistic related.
You know what?
I
I actually, speaking of, looking back on life, some nostalgia, some life lessons.
a
I
good
have
segue.
a study.
Oh, yes. That would be a study.
That's kind of duh.
Yeah. That's
Do we really need a study
Yeah.
on this?
Yeah,
But,
graphic.
some of these employees just need to meet their quota for articles. I'm
I
assuming.
like this graphic because I have glasses on. It makes me look smarter.
Well, we went to the Bill Maher show. We were given tickets. If that
Oh,
means
how was that?
anything.
Was that MSG, right?
Yeah, and that was like he had like 5,000 people, and the first thing he does is really bash Trump without even mentioning Biden at all, just bash him, and then
All right, Bill.
he had that thing about the.
That was like one of the headlines you sent.
Oh, yeah, we'll definitely do that one. Well, first of all, we have to expose our stupidity with our duddy, and then we'll get to the Bill Maher one, because that's a good one. Go ahead.
Well, just speaking of glory days, you guys, most seniors agree that their 20s or 30s were the happiest years of their lives. A survey of 2,000 Americans finds Americans over 65 finds that 36% wish they had the knowledge they have today about different areas of life, like love, finances, or health. If they could relive any decade of their life, seniors would most openly opt for their 30s or 20s, remembering these years as the happiest of their lives. If they could redo one major decision, people would have saved more money or invested earlier. Which may be why many wish they received better advice about money and education when they were younger. With age comes wisdom, and reflecting on past experiences can serve not only as cherished memories, but as grounds to impart knowledge to younger generations. So sort of on that point, did you hope that in writing this, maybe you would impart some wisdom onto your daughter?
Well, first of all, I disagree with the article. I read the whole article.
Okay.
And, being of that age, I think I could speak from personal experience. Okay? There are things that are different. Mm-hmm. For example, I used to really, really be jealous. I'd be so jealous of a woman who looks like you or somebody like,
She's dead inside.
Yeah.
It all changes when you get older. Like now, instead of being jealous of a beautiful woman, I am jealous of my cat's bowel movements.
Wow.
It becomes
Or speaking her language.
it's like I'm thinking, do I eat when my cat eats? Because, whoa.
Every morning at the same time. How does it happen?
Those
Good
little
on you
things
for your cat's
change.
fiber intake, by the way. That's a good owner.
But you start. There's really wonderful things about aging, really, and I disagree with that article. I'd have to say I'm much happier now than I was when I was 30 and madly in love with her father and waiting for his phone call and praying and sitting and waiting and being a slave to love. No, I have a great husband now, but I'm not a slave to love.
Love that.
Yeah, like who needs it?
As someone who's getting married this weekend,
Yeah,
really great to hear.
She needs to hear all this as she can, yeah.
She's getting married this
She's getting her
weekend?
license today. That's why she's all dolled up.
City Hall today to get our marriage license.
That's
yeah.
wonderful.
I love it. By the way, let's examine this. She dressed up for City Hall.
I aim to
There's gonna be
please.
people there in half
I want the
tees.
person who's issuing my license to be like, good for you.
The guy next to you is not going to be wearing pants. You realize that?
We've been together 7.5 years, so we're,
Oh.
I think we're pretty solid.
Definitely.
And if I were to have his child, I do think he would acknowledge it.
Yeah. Not
You say
everybody
you are
has
as
what
solid
you have.
as Ginger's cat's poops. Well, you haven't seen
Well,
it.
I haven't seen her cat's poops.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
Congratulations.
I like this though. I mean, I think you're right, and that gives me hope. I'm 47. I would say I was a lot happier in my 30s, but that has, I think, less to do with age and more to do with money. I had more of it back then, but I don't know. I'm not a huge
especially-
fan of the 40s.
I think especially health, right? I think a lot of people
Yeah.
are thinking about that, especially these days. And it's like, God, why did I treat my body that way in my 20s and 30s?
Well, I'm
I
sure
didn't
worse.
know how good I had it waking up without pain or whatever
Right.
the issue might
Yeah.
be. I
Health's a
certainly
big thing.
think that every time I get a hangover now, it's way worse than it was in my 20s.
Yeah.
So
Well, you're much more of an alcoholic now too.
that too.
How about you, Sheba? Like, is this the best time of your life? I mean, you're a lot younger than I am, but
I guess I have to live more to look back on this.
you
Yeah.
two are about the same age. You were born in 85, right?
At the end of 85.
Yeah, she's an 89er.
I'm an 88er. How dare you?
I don't know. I was close.
How dare you make me younger than I am?
I was gonna say, yeah, you're welcome. But yeah, I mean, like, well, you guys are too young to look back. That's the
Yeah,
thing.
I mean, there are
Here's my thing: enjoy it while you got it. Put it that way.
Totally.
Yeah.
And there are certainly times where I might like to relive some moments in my 20s just because they were fun, but it's not like I actually want to go back and redo anything.
I don't. Either.
Right.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
You know?
That is true. I wish I'd done things differently, but I don't want to go back.
Yeah, what would you do differently, Bill? I think I know the answer.
God damn, like, where to begin? Do you have fucking 4 hours? Like, everything. Well, wait, I want to know what you think I was
Oh,
going to
I was just going to speak finances.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I
Well,
feel like that would be the major one for you.
I used to have a 401k.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. I hate 40s. But, yeah, I guess that's basically it. And the whole health thing is big, too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the health thing is big. I'm still, knock on wood still, but
I don't know why. I still kind of am, and I've done everything I could to kind of ruin that.
Yeah, science should study your body when you finally do perish, so make sure you sign up for that.
Thanks, kiddo.
I spent my entire 20s at a comedy club, like waiting to go on. Like my whole 20s was spent doing comedy.
Was that fun though? I mean,
Yeah, it was
we have a
fun.
lot of young
We had a lot of
comics on
fun.
that do a lot of that, and they seem to be having a better time than me.
Yeah, it was totally fun. It was
Yeah.
fun. I mean, there as you know, I mean, you know a lot of comics. So as difficult it is as it is, it's still fun.
You know what I wouldn't have done? Gotten into print.
You wouldn't.
I think when I was in college, I thought, yes, print journalism. That's the future right there. Fucking kill me. And I went to a broadcast college. I did not think things through. But you queued me up. Let's go to the Bill Maher one here somewhere. Bill Maher got a little thing on HBO every Friday. And he this time he does this new rules at the end of the show, and his last one was about Donald Trump. And I have to say, this is a very good question. He wants to know why we don't know who Donald Trump is fucking, because he's fucking someone, and it's definitely not Melania. Bill mused, with the hundreds of books that have been written about Trump, no one has cracked the mystery. Who is he banning? As he says, Trump's been a dog his entire adult life, talking about how powerful people could simply grab a woman by the pussy and have his way. Bill's convinced, according to TMZ, Trump hasn't changed his ways, yet no one has addressed it. Let's go to the
I have never
video.
thought about this.
It's really a good question.
I don't count on the news media for much anymore, but I do expect them to tell me who's fucking who.
Seriously.
Unless, no, it couldn't be. Unless the answer, Donald, is you just can't. Well, I remember you once guaranteed that there was no problem.
I guarantee you there's no problem. I guarantee.
During a debate.
Well, maybe there is. Maybe there is a problem, in which case I feel for you.
Oh my
No,
God,
I'm
he's just
saying,
egging him
I'm
on
not trying
to
bait you
reveal
into
it.
Oh, yeah.
a response to prove your dick worked.
He knows what
Maybe
he's
it
doing.
does. It's possible theoretically, but really, there's no other explanation how a cult leader with hundreds of willing groupies who's not restrained by his wife, by his options, or by morals could not be having sex with anyone. I wouldn't
ain't
be
wrong.
surprised if you nicknamed your penis Mike Pence.
The audience is really enjoying it too.
Because it's not hung like it should be.
Too shabby.
Anyway, Donald, I know you're thinking about running again, so I just want to say good luck with the campaign, and now that your own party thinks of you as a loser, remember, no one wants a limp dick in the White House.
Wow. All right. Well, I think Joe is spot on. He's planting some seeds, and I think possibly rightly so, thinks Trump is going to take this bait.
This is exactly what I used to do in college. You won't do that. Like, you won't chug that beer.
Yeah.
You won't take that shot. You won't do it. You won't do it just to make the person do it.
Totally.
Yeah. It's a good point. I mean, back in the day, JFK's time, the press was fully aware of him fucking anything that would move, and they would not say anything because of respect, I guess, for the office, what have you. Those times no longer exist, and yet we do not know what this man has been doing with his little wiener, and that shocks me. What did you glean from this?
Why don't you think he's fucking Melania?
Because I think.
Because he's such a playboy? She always looks miserable?
I think that he would have divorced her years ago were it not for the whole presidency thing. I'm assuming they lead separate lives. we should add allegedly on the button. I don't know for a fact. I do not think that he is. I do not think that he also just blamed Melania for Dr. Oz.
That is true.
Yeah. He threw his wife under the bus for suggesting Dr. Oz for Pennsylvania.
Do you remember the day they played that video where he said grab him by the pussy?
Sure.
But they didn't.
God, yeah.
but
Poor
like-
Billy Bush. He got the worst of it.
Oh yeah.
But they didn't have.
He got to be president. Billy Bush got fired.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he got fired.
Yeah.
And I was almost in defense of Billy Bush, right? Because didn't he just like laugh? And I
no,
say
he did. I
people
would've
laugh
done
when
that.
they're uncomfortable and they don't know what to do. I
is
do
what
it
she does in
all
front of
the
Gino.
time in front of Gino.
Yes.
But it was like everyone heard him say the word, and he made it a household word. And like, but they didn't have
Say
closed
pussy.
captions though. Like they didn't want deaf people to know what they were saying.
Yeah.
But remember, they had a sign language interpreter, and then he got to the word pussy. He didn't know what to do. It's like he was a man. He can't point. What is it? Like, what are you supposed
Actually,
to?
that would have been cute. Yeah, but really, all Billy Bush did was giggle, and he was in no man's land for years.
Yeah.
He's on Extra now. I don't know why I'm giving him a plug, but yeah, poor Billy Bush, and I can't believe that just came out of my mouth.
But it is interesting, especially with today's culture of like TMZ, social media, people outing people or revealing secrets. The fact that whoever he is screwing has not come forward themselves, or someone hasn't snapped a photo of, clandestine meetings or something.
It's amazing to me. Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe he's fucked out. You get to a point where you don't care anymore.
I agree, but I think is of his mind, I think that his mentality is such that even if he is fucked out, which does happen aging-wise, I've read, that...
He's had so many women
still,
already.
His ego is such that he would still do it just to show himself that he's still...
Yeah, that he
got it,
could.
Although I do know he was big into non-disclosure agreements. And
Sure, but how many
porn
people
star.
follow those?
Oh, and she did it. The one that came out
Yeah.
and talked about the size of his wiener and all that.
Stormy.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, he made him sign it all.
Although, I mean, that is a big deterrent probably for future signers to follow it, right? Because that was a whole long process, her being, dragged through the mud.
And then, but I think they did. I don't know if successfully, but they did sue her. I love that I wish I had this.
Yes, but I think that she did end up, right? She didn't have to pay.
No, I don't think. No.
But still, it's just like a whole bunch of back and forth. So I could see women being like, oh God, do I really want to go through with it? Like, I
Yeah.
think Trump really went through that, suing her and doing the whole thing to discourage future women from doing the same.
Yeah. Well, he doesn't have the best diet in the world. Could there be any truth to the whole Bill Maher's impotence theory? I mean, the guy can afford the best Viagra in the world. I highly doubt any of this, but...
Yeah, so even if he's impotent, he could just take that.
Although, sometimes you got enough Big Macs in you, even a Viagra won't work, I mean, there's only so much science can do.
Well, he famously doesn't drink.
No.
So it's not like it's a whiskey dick situation.
That is true. We'll never get this answer unless, again, the man takes the bait. And Maher was really... trolling him there.
But here's the thing. What needs to happen, though, is someone in the media needs to ask Trump, have you seen Bill Maher's latest musings?
Look, Bill Maher mentioned his name. Of course he saw it.
Because I don't know that Trump will just, come forward and release his own press statement about it. But if he's asked again.
I think he's savvy enough where he'll have someone else do it for him.
Oh, I see. Maybe.
Yeah. Or maybe not. But either way, you're welcome for talking about Donald Trump's wiener for a solid 10 minutes. I have discussed it everyone, so I'll let you pick something.
Speaking of...
All right, get ready for the bad segue graphic, please. I can feel it coming.
Speaking of a cat fight... Meow, pussy.
No, bad segue.
This I found fascinating.
I'll be the judge of that.
The UFC's Dana White is creating a slap fighting league, and doctors have concerns. So this is exactly what it sounds like.
You know, we did this. Russia does this all the time. We used
Well-
to run slap fights from them.
Yes. So Dana White said, this all started for me back in 2017. I started seeing some of these slap videos on social media.
Yep.
And I was blown away by the numbers. Some of these have like 300 million views. So I started thinking, obviously this thing really works for social media, but I thought it would be good for television if done the right way. So the league will be,
In the right way.
Well-
It's a slap fight. It's
Literally slapping?
yes.
hard though.
So it will be regulated by the Nevada State Athletic Commission, set to launch early next year with an 8-episode series that will air nationally on TBS. It will include rules, rankings, and extensive medical testing. So what White sees happening in this sport, which has been unregulated for years, would be that it would be done by weight class. So there's more fitting matchups. They'll limit how many rounds the matches can run and institute various requirements and regulations, including fouls, mouth guards, and earplugs. It will utilize a 10-point system, similar, I guess, to boxing and MMA fights. But now, here's the issue. Neurosurgeons are weighing in, and they're like, this is a bad idea.
There's
Jesus Christ.
Basically, by its virtue, slap boxing is an offensive sport. There is no defense. You can't use your shoulder to protect you. You can't use your hands to protect you. You can't even turn your head to soften the blow or control where the blow is being placed. So some slaps could be life-altering. If someone passes out, it's pretty much like you've just suffered a concussion.
Oh yeah. Oh boy.
So doctors are very worried for participants.
Couldn't you like lose your hearing too if you're slapped harder?
There's so much that could go
We
wrong.
get the sports we deserve. I would say that the performance-enhancing drug in this competition would be beards. If you've got that guy a little bit, if you've got a big fluffy beard, that is protection.
I feel like the sting
I
is
would
less.
say I would say you'd have to make everyone shave if you wanted to be totally.
It looks a little gay when men do it.
Oh, it looks a lot gay.
It's more like for,
Yeah,
for
no little about
females.
it. Although these guys, I mean, the Russian ones that we would watch, they fucking, even though it's a slap and your palm's got to be like this, boy, they hit hard.
But Bill, sort of to your point, it is an interesting idea of like,
Okay.
this is just going to be a TV show. Like,
There we go. There's a
what are we
concession.
going to see? Like, what's the lead up? It's like people walking around, you know, like trying to, just like really getting the cheeks ready.
I see. I'm in. I love that Schwarzenegger is one of the judges on this one.
And then you need like 7 people. Oh my gosh.
Oh my God. There's like more prep for like a hot dog eating contest than this.
Right.
It's not an embarrassment.
I would rather watch a hot dog eating contest, even though, I mean, I do love mukbang, but that is to the point of like sick. This is, I don't know. Just the fact that people, you know, I was just watching Game of Thrones. I'm watching it for the first time. Finally at the point where there's like the fighting pits in Marine. We haven't really gotten better from like gladiator times. How is it different? Maybe there aren't lions in there with us and like it's not to the death, but this is still kind of twisted.
It's really barbaric.
Oh,
at that
see,
beard.
again, look at that guy. That guy knows what he's doing.
That guy flinched a little. That's the thing. How can you're gonna flinch,
You'd have to
right?
make you have to make them shave the beards, I think, for it to be fair.
But why is this any worse though than punching in your head? You know.
I don't think it is. But, I mean, there's a way. There's an art to it, I believe.
It's at least with the punches, it's not like you
this.
can't use your hands to protect yourself. Like at least with boxing or MMA,
Yeah, that's true. There's like
you can try to get out of the way, but this you're just supposed to stand there and take it,
it's so weird.
right?
I would rather watch this than the hot dog thing. And I like all of it, like it gets on their face. And the other thing that I hate is that they have learned early on that to easily digest it, they dip the hot dog into the water,
Yeah.
with the bread.
Yeah.
That for some reason nauseates me.
Yeah.
I cannot watch
It's a
that. This
texture thing
is
for you.
better. Yeah, it's absolutely disgusting. And also, you like mukbang because people seem to be enjoying what they're eating.
I like watching
There is no
people enjoy-
joy in hot dog eating. They are in physical pain.
Neck. Oh boy. Yeah, you know, I worry my aim would be off. That is like you have to hit a very specific area. And speaking of performing, I've had to do stage slaps before. And typically with a slap on stage, you're supposed to contact the face, but you're supposed to do it in a certain area so that you won't hurt the jaw or other parts. And then you might add, your hands on the upstage side that the audience can't see. You'll like slap your thigh to make it sound better.
Pat Dixon
then.
should
I love the fact that you know about the Dixon incident.
Nice.
Yeah, there wasn't anything stage slap about that one.
But even stage slaps, when I've had to do it, it's like, oh, I get so nervous. I don't want to hurt the person.
Yeah, well, it's for you, but yeah, I don't blame you.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I'll be watching. Sorry, TBS. TBS feels like a weird platform, too.
Well, there's that famous scene in Jaws of the woman coming up to Chief Brody, and she's like, there was an incident with a woman. You knew about that, and you kept the beaches open. I just want you to know my son is dead, and she slaps him. And apparently she really went for it, and they did a bunch of them, and like his face was all blown up for a while. But to this day, people will go to Martha's Vineyard because she was a local, and she's very old now, and ask her to slap them.
Oh my
That scene resonated so much, and she'll do it. Actually, I want to fucking do
That
it.
feels like a fetish thing at that point.
Oh, it absolutely
Yeah.
is. Yeah, but yeah. So, and I guess like in movies, a lot of times, yeah, the method actors will really go for it and lose a tooth along the way.
God, no.
Well, I guess it's better than shooting a real bullet.
Yeah, oh yeah, God, that like Alex should be taking notes right now.
Yeah.
By the way, they're gonna finish that movie.
Whoa.
I don't even think we did this. They are actually going to finish this movie, and the guy that was suing Alec is now on board as like a producer or something like this. I feel like this is being underreported.
No, but here's the thing. Just like this, right? It's all about the money. More people are going to go now to see this movie Rust
Yeah.
because they know what happened on set than was ever going to see it before. And I guess I do hope that literally all of the profits of this movie go to the victim's family.
Well, again, I believe her husband is now one of the producers.
That's
Sure.
so weird.
It's so fucked up. I think I'm right on that. God bless him, and God bless anyone that gets shot by Alec Baldwin. If you can make lemons out of lemonade, or vice versa.
Wait, isn't Lemon the name of one of the characters on 30 Rock?
I don't know. I
only watched a few
probably.
episodes.
I hate where your brain
It's
goes.
too much to watch. Oh, I got a thumbs up. Thanks, Bobby.
He was just saying you got to go.
Oh, okay.
Sheba, what a fucking delight. You got to come back and join us anytime you want. We would love to make you a regular. Give us all of your plugs, your promotions, everything.
So it's just thejackiemassonmusical.com for tickets or carolines.com for tickets.
Get
It's 2
over on
Sundays.
it. I'm taking you up on one of the matinees. What a great idea.